Good day, my petit chauffeur. This is Big Bad Berna, and today I'm going to bring you the second episode of First Principles, my haphazard attempt at a spy guide. The title of today's episode is going to be Priorities. So I was going to just make another video with a couple spy tips, but then I started thinking about what topics would make sense to put at the beginning of my series. And the more I thought about it, the more obvious it kind of seemed. I should talk about the mindset you should have if you want to be an effective spy. This is something I struggle with all the time, and it's not how I always play. You know, a lot of the time I am just fooling around in random public games. However, I think your mindset while playing spy is possibly the most important thing to pay attention to if you want to get better at the class, and so I thought it would probably be a good idea to talk about that before I go into other little things. So what do I mean by mindset? Don't I just stab things and sap buildings and stuff? Well, yeah, but there's a bit more to it than that. So firstly, what is your goal? For classes like Scout, Demo, Soldier, Heavy, and even Sniper, a huge point of the class is killing things. Maybe you focus on killing so that you can cap a point, but you're still trying to kill things. Looking at your damage and kills is usually the best way to tell if you're helping your team as those classes. With Spy, it's a little bit different. Not only are you weaker than most classes, making it hard to rack up the kills in the first place, you are also not that effective at carrying your team by killing tons of opponents. Have you ever tried to be a spy when your team is getting demolished and the opponents have nothing to do but spy check? Remember how awful that is? I've played a ton of games as spy where I get the most kills on my team, but we still lose really badly. So what's the deal? Let's talk about payload defense, for example. If you want to be the best spy possible, what should you do to help your team win? Well, I'm going to bring this to you in a couple of concepts, and hopefully that'll make things a little bit easier to understand. So, concept 1. What does the other team need in order to win? So, this first clip here is on Gold Rush. I'm playing defense, and you can tell there's a big distance for that team to travel between their spawn and where the cart needs to go. This attacking team demolished us on first point, so they've got a lot of time to take that second point. So my goal is going to be to slow down their team. Unless I kill their entire push, which is kind of unlikely, the best way to slow down their team is to take out their teleporters and to distract enough of their team so that they chase after me, that they're not pushing the cart. And if I can do that for long enough, then my team might be able to set up a defense. So you'll notice if you're watching this clip, I've already messed up a couple trick stabs, going for flashy things that don't actually work. At the same time though, I'm being pretty effective getting behind their lines, killing their people, and destroying these teleporters. So being fancy as a spy doesn't necessarily mean you're being effective, and just because you are not being fancy or not doing fancy things, it doesn't mean you're not effective. So you may notice that this is a kind of an older clip, so I'm using the older version of the Deadbringer in this clip. I just got this clip a while ago and hadn't used it for anything. So pardon me for the changed mechanics that won't really apply anymore. So, the second concept I wanted to talk about is what can I do as a spy for my team that other classes can't do? So I often try to kill people on the cart when I'm playing spy, but that can be really risky. And not only that, even if I do end up killing the people on the cart, is that really the thing that I could do that's most helpful for my team? I mean, a lot of the fragging classes like soldiers and demos and heavies can kill people on the cart. It's not really that hard for them. However, as a spy, I can cloak and get behind the other team. Now that's kind of inherently useful, because I can destroy teleporters, and I can also force the opposing team to turn and look behind them. And that's something that I think is really undervalued with Spy, and you should really try to take advantage of it. So what do I mean by forcing the other team to turn? Well, basically, when the other team's fighting, they want to be focusing all their fire and their attention forward towards your team. I know some of you have probably played against some pretty good spies before, and one of the most annoying things is when you constantly have to worry about someone coming up from behind you. So you're constantly turning, looking for people, you're spy checking your teammates, because you don't trust them, and it makes it really hard to pay attention to the rest of the opposing team and do what you want to do. So, in that Gold Rush clip that we finished a couple minutes ago, I was just going behind them, destroying their teleporters, and shooting revolver shots at them. And if they didn't deal with me, if they didn't come back and kill me, I would have continued destroying their teleporters as soon as they went up and continued killing people like medics. So that's something you should really pay attention to. You want your play as a spy to force the other team to play differently than they want to play. So by combining that first concept, looking at what the other team needs in order to win, and number two, doing what only you can do as a spy, by combining those two things, you can usually figure out how you can help your team win by playing spy. It's a lot easier to help your team win with a lot of other classes, and so you really do need to put a lot of work in if you want to be a helpful spy. So, if you've been paying any attention throughout this video, you've probably heard me say the word teleporters 8 million times. So why do I keep mentioning teleporters? Well, I've been focusing on payload defense specifically, and so destroying the offensive team's teleporters is a massive, massive deal. But why is that the case? If you have the chance to, maybe kill 2 players or destroy a teleporter, why am I recommending that you go for the teleporter? Well, on payload maps, there's often a really, really big distance between where the offensive team spawns and where they need the cart to go. So teleporters can hurt your team in 2 big ways. Number one, they bring all the other team up to the front lines faster. So they're just more offensive players on the front lines fighting. And number two, they also bring all of those offensive players to the front lines in bunches. So they're not just coming one at a time, there'll be like 5 of them on the front lines. So ideally, as a defensive team, you kind of want a gradual attack. One attacker, then another attacker, then another attacker. You can usually repel that pretty easily. But what you don't want is 5 or 6 players all coming at you at once, and that can be really tough to stop. So, when you destroy the teleporters, all the classes are forced to walk. Some classes can walk quickly, like scouts, but a lot of the higher damaging classes, so I'm thinking soldiers, heavies, demo men, those kind of heavy classes, are naturally slower. It's one of the big balancing factors in TF2. The classes that can do big damage don't move as quickly. Now that's a little bit different now with the introduction of items like the gunboats and all the explosive jumping that can go on. But at the same time, that balancing factor still plays a big role. So, if you can destroy the teleporter and all those heavy classes need to walk to the front, those players will either switch off the heavy classes, or they will just arrive one at a time, very slowly, to the front lines. And that makes your life easier, because then you can pick them off one by one, cloak, and disappear. So for the rest of this video, I thought I'd talk a little bit about just the clips themselves that I'm putting at the end of this video. So you see, That sentry totally caught me off guard. This is a more recent clip. And I'm using the Eternal Reward, so I didn't have a disguise. So let's see my prioritization at work. I go make sure that the people on the cart are damaged a little bit. And then I'm taking an alternate route so I don't run into people. I want to get a disguise though, so that if I do go behind enemy lines, I can get that sentry. So I kill the heavy, I break line of sight with that medic so I can try to escape, and I run away. I'm going to let the rest of my team deal with their front line, and instead I'm going to try to get back to their spawn and see what I can do. This is a better location for me as a spy. I've got high ground, I can destroy that sentry, and I can pick on people one by one. This sniper is a bit oblivious, so I destroy the teleporter. Well, I try to. But then I realized the engineer was right on top of his teleporter. Since he was, getting rid of my sapper immediately. So this is something you should do as spy. If you're destroying a teleporter, sap and then shoot the thing. And that'll destroy it a lot quicker than if you just wait for the sap to complete. So now I just destroyed his entrance. Now that the heavy's revved up, that's kind of a loud sound, so I decloak behind him. And you can already see I've lured a couple players to search for me. I'm doing a decent amount of work, I'm killing opponents, I'm distracting a lot, and I've gotten rid of their teleporters, so they're not coming to the front lines. So you see that Pyro's still looking for me. Unfortunately, there was a soldier behind me, and he got me. Alright. So as you can see, I've made some progress there. Now I'm going to try to continue this work on my next life. So I come out of spawn. I know my teammates are up here, so I don't want to cloak too early. I want enough time to actually cross the line. So I'm picking up those little ammo boxes along the way, so I have enough time to make it through. I give the Pyro a wide berth, so that he's not going to light me on fire. And now I want to get this sniper, so I have my disguise. So this was a bit risky, because people saw me. And I'm pretty low health here. So I'm trying to get into a situation where they don't see me, so I'm kind of sitting in a blind spot here. And that was really close, and I probably should have died. So I just make it to an area where I can get some health. And once again, same thing. Just make it across the crossing there. The engineer sees me, but I was pretty confident when I saw him that he'd be a good candidate for a trick stab. So this is a ballsy play that wouldn't make work on good players. But you know how I knew that engineer was on the teleporter, like basically sitting right on top of it from last life? I used that to my advantage, and I actually got a telefrag on him. So pay attention to your opponents and their habits, because that'll sometimes work out for you. So that way, I ended up getting the teleporter and the engineer, so we can't unsap it. So notice how now our team, based on what we've been able to do there, and I think partly due to the fact I got the teleporters, our team's pushed up all the way closer to their spawn. They were pretty close to capping the point, but now we've pushed them all the way back, close to their spawn. I couldn't avoid those flames, but the advantage of that is that I can distract the soldier for a little bit. So I do have a disguise right now, but it's not going to fool that medic since I'm probably disguised as him. So now I'm back in my mode of just kind of like picking off one person at a time. I see they're putting up their entrances, so I sap them. I know I don't want to lose my disguise right now, and I doubt their engineers are right by their teleporters yet. They've only put down entrances. So I don't shoot the tellies in that case. So now you see all these people are coming out one at a time. And it makes them really easy stab targets. Now I could have probably gone for that Pyro, but I'm playing it safe. Always a second chance. Whoops. Got lit up. So this is going to be close. So now I'm running for more health and cloak because I know I'm almost out. For whatever reason, the pyro either doesn't follow me or he loses me. So I'm going right back to spawn again. What am I doing? Getting that teleporter. Now the engineer's coming back to fight me. But I've got the drop on him, right? I know where he's going to be coming. So it's an easy kill. As a spy, when you can pick on targets one-on-one, it makes your life a whole lot easier. Now I've lost my disguise, so I wanted to see whether any enemies were going to come out on their own. Unfortunately, it's that engineer who already knows where I am. So, I'm running right now. I try to take a less obvious route, which is going out the window. And I played this guy for a fool. So you can see I'm actually having a big impact on the opposing team. You see the med and the Engie are still just looking for me. Now the pyro's coming out looking for me. I wanted to see if I could stab one of them before I ran away. And unfortunately, another player's coming back. So yeah, they kill me.
Where is this guy going?
There's only 5 of them before they finally get me down.
Down here apparently, huh?
So this is a pretty old clip. If any of you guys are into watching TF2 videos on YouTube, you might have heard of Nate Fox. He's put out some really great videos on Soldier, so things like rocket jumping, the Beggar's Bazooka, a whole bunch of that kind of stuff. If you haven't watched any of his videos, I'd really recommend it. So he's that guy, that soldier, that just rocket jumped up there. I just realized I had this old video. I guess he was in the server at the time. So I chose this clip to put in the video, not just because it's a good kill streak, but also because it shows that same prioritization that I'm talking about. So we're attacking this last point, and I'm trying right now to go just for little kills. Basically, I'm trying to open up the area so that the rest of my team can come in and take control of that corner. So now, I'm focusing on that engineer. I don't think I can get close to him, so instead I use my ambassador and kill him. So now, that opens up the area here for my spy to go in and sap their gun. So the engineers respawned, and same thing, I'm going to go from a safe spot and attack him. And now that I'm behind enemy lines, I can distract their entire team. So they're attacking my teammates in map room, and that gives me a couple free kills. And it's funny how well this can work sometimes. Engineers back up again. That was risky. I almost died here. Good thing I have the old version of the Dead Ringer. This is another older clip. Lets me get out alive. Whoops. Missed my stab. And then I get lit on fire. So I know I need to run back to my team, because going behind enemy lines would get me killed there. Luckily enough, the health pack spawns in time, and I land my ambi shot.
There's just like Pyro Central.
By this point, I hear a sentry gun again, so I'm pretty sure that they will have set up. So my goal is to get back there again. Unfortunately, there's some players in my way. And I can't escape in time. Well, hopefully you guys enjoyed this second episode of the Spy Guide. If you have any suggestions or anything, please let me know in the comments. And I'm not going to hint what episodes are coming next because I'll probably change my mind before I put it out. Bye for now.